What if I told you that 15 simple plants could stand between your family and hunger during the hardest times? Not fancy superfoods, not expensive seeds from special companies, just 15 tough, reliable crops that have kept people alive through wars, famines, droughts, and economic collapse for thousands of years. Today, I'm going to show you exactly which 15 crops to plant, why they work when everything else fails, and how to grow them even if you've never gardened before. These aren't just plants, they're insurance policies you can grow in your backyard. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to create your own survival garden that could feed your family for months, maybe even years. Stick with me because number 7 on this list can produce food in just 30 days, and number 12 can survive in your garden for 20 years without any help from you. This is information everyone needs to know. But before we start, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Here at Easy Grow Garden, we share practical growing tips every single week that help regular people grow their own food, no matter their experience level. Your subscription helps us reach more families who need this knowledge. Thank you. Now let's dive in. Let me tell you why this matters right now. Look around. Food prices keep climbing. Supply chains break down. Grocery store shelves empty overnight when storms hit or trucks stop running. And most of us, maybe including you, depend completely on those stores for every single meal. Our great-grandparents would think we're crazy. They kept gardens, they stored food, they knew which crops would save them when times got tough. But somewhere along the way, we forgot. We handed over all our food security to big systems we can't control. Here's the good news. You can take some of that power back. You don't need acres of land. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't even need much experience. You just need the right crops and the willingness to plant them. The 15 crops I'm about to share with you have 3 things in common. First, they're incredibly productive. These plants give you massive amounts of food from small spaces. Some can feed a family from just a few square feet of garden. Second, they're tough as nails. They survive cold, heat, drought, poor soil, and neglect. When your pretty tomatoes die and your lettuce bolts, these crops keep producing. Third, they store well. Fresh food is wonderful, but during difficult times, you need crops that last. These plants can be dried, stored, frozen, or kept fresh for months without refrigeration. Our ancestors relied on these exact crops through the Great Depression, through world wars, through famines and droughts. They work. They've been tested by history, and they're waiting for you to plant them. So let's count them down. I'm going to tell you what each crop is, why it's perfect for survival, and exactly how to grow it in the simplest way possible. Crop number 1, potatoes. If you could only grow one crop for survival, make it potatoes. Here's why. A single potato plant can produce 10 to 20 potatoes. Plant just 20 potato plants, and you could harvest 200 to 400 potatoes. That's enough to feed one person for months. Potatoes are pure survival food. They have vitamin C, which prevents scurvy, the disease that killed sailors on long voyages. They have potassium for your heart and muscles. They have fiber to keep you healthy. And they fill you up like almost nothing else. People have literally survived eating nothing but potatoes and butter for years. I'm not recommending that, but it shows you how nutritious potatoes are. Growing potatoes is incredibly easy. You don't even need seeds. Just take a potato from your kitchen that's starting to sprout, cut it into pieces with at least 2 eyes each, and plant those pieces 6 inches deep in loose soil. Water them. Wait 90 days. Dig them up, that's it. They grow in spring and fall. They tolerate cold weather. They grow in containers if you don't have garden space. And once you harvest them, potatoes store in a cool, dark place for 6 months or longer. During the Irish potato famine, the tragedy wasn't that potatoes are bad. It was that people depended on only one variety and a disease killed them all. The lesson? Grow potatoes, but grow other crops too. Which brings us to number 2. Crop number 2, beans. Beans are magical, and I mean that literally from a survival perspective. Here's what beans do that almost no other plant does. They grab nitrogen from the air and put it into the soil. That means they actually make your garden better while they're growing. They feed themselves and improve the ground for next year's crops. But the real magic is what beans do for your body. Beans are packed with protein, the building block your body needs to stay strong. Most survival crops are heavy on carbohydrates but light on protein. Beans fill that gap. Dry beans store for years. I'm not exaggerating. In a cool, dry container, beans can last 5 to 10 years, maybe longer. This makes them perfect for long-term food security. There are hundreds of varieties. Pinto beans, black beans, kidney beans, navy beans, great northern beans. Each one grows a little differently, but they're all planted the same basic way. Wait until after the last frost. Poke holes in the ground 1 inch deep and 4 inches apart. Drop in 1 bean per hole. Cover it. Water gently. The beans sprout in about a week. Then you just wait. The plants grow. Flowers appear. Pods form. When the pods dry and turn brown on the plant, pick them, shell out the beans, and store them. Bush beans take 60 days. Pole beans take 70 to 90 days, but produce more food from less space. Either way, you're looking at a harvest in about 2 to 3 months. And here's a bonus. While the beans are growing, you can pick some pods when they're young and green and eat them fresh as green beans. 2 crops from 1 plant. Crop number 3, winter squash. When I say winter squash, I'm talking about butternut squash, acorn squash, pumpkins, spaghetti squash, those big, hard-skinned vegetables that look like they could survive a zombie apocalypse. And honestly, they kind of could. Winter squash plants are incredibly productive. 1 plant can give you 5 to 10 large squash. Each squash can weigh 3 to 10 pounds. That's a lot of food from 1 seed. The beauty of winter squash is the storage. After you harvest them, you cure them in the sun for a week or 2 to harden the skin. Then you can store them in a cool room for 4 to 6 months. Some varieties last even longer. This means you can harvest squash in October and still be eating them in March. Fresh food in the middle of winter with no canning, no freezing, no electricity required. Squash are also packed with vitamins, especially vitamin A, which keeps your eyes and immune system healthy. Growing squash is simple, but they need space. Plant seeds 1 inch deep after the last frost. Give each plant about 3 feet of space in all directions because they spread out with big vines and leaves. Water them regularly. Watch them grow. About 90 to 100 days later, you'll have beautiful, tough squash ready to pick. The only trick is knowing when to harvest. Wait until the skin is so hard you can't pierce it with your fingernail. That's when you know it's ready to store. Crop number 4. Cabbage doesn't get much respect. It's not fancy. It's not Instagram-worthy. But when times are tough, cabbage becomes your best friend. Here's why. Cabbage is incredibly cold-hardy. It grows in spring and fall when other vegetables can't handle the temperatures. Some varieties can survive light freezes. 1 cabbage plant produces 1 large head that can weigh 3 to 8 pounds. That's a lot of food. You can eat it fresh in salads and slaws, cook it in soups and stir-fries, or ferment it into sauerkraut, which stores for months and gives you healthy probiotics. Cabbage is also packed with vitamin C and vitamin K. During long winters when fresh food was scarce, cabbage kept people from getting sick. Growing cabbage takes patience but not much skill. Start seeds indoors 6 weeks before the last frost, or buy small plants from a nursery. Plant them in the garden 18 inches apart. Water them regularly. Keep the soil moist. About 70 to 100 days later, depending on the variety, you'll have a tight, heavy head of cabbage ready to harvest. The best part? Cabbage stores well. After harvest, you can keep cabbage in a cool place for 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer. Wrap each head in newspaper and store them in a box in your basement or garage. During World War II, victory gardens across America grew cabbage because it was reliable, nutritious, and kept families fed when meat and other foods were rationed. Crop number 5, onions. You might not think of onions as survival food, but they've saved people from starvation for thousands of years. Onions add flavor to everything. When you're eating the same basic foods day after day, beans, potatoes, cabbage, onions make those meals taste good. That matters more than you might think. During difficult times, being able to enjoy your food keeps your spirits up. But onions also have real nutritional value. They contain vitamin C, antioxidants, and compounds that fight inflammation and boost your immune system. The storage is where onions really shine. After harvest, cure them in a dry place for 2 to 3 weeks until the outer skin is papery. Then braid them or hang them in mesh bags in a cool, dry spot. Properly cured onions can last 6 to 12 months. Growing onions is straightforward. You can start from seeds, but it's easier to plant onion sets, those little baby onions sold at garden centers. Push them into the soil 1 inch deep and 4 inches apart in early spring. Keep them watered. Pull any weeds. About 100 to 120 days later, when the green tops fall over and start turning brown, pull up your onions. That's it. Simple, reliable, delicious. Crop number 6. Carrots. Carrots are sweet, crunchy, and shockingly tough to grow poorly. They tolerate cold, they don't mind poor soil, and they store like champions. One packet of carrot seeds, which costs about $2, can produce 50 to 100 pounds of carrots if you plant them all. That's an incredible return on investment. Carrots are famous for vitamin A, which keeps your eyes healthy and your immune system strong. They also have fiber and natural sugars that give you steady energy. The storage options for carrots are amazing. You can leave them in the ground all winter in many climates and harvest them as needed. You can store them in a box of damp sand in a cool basement for 4 to 6 months. You can freeze them. You can can them. They're incredibly versatile. Growing carrots requires loose, rock-free soil. Hard or rocky soil makes carrots grow twisted and deformed. So loosen your soil well before planting. Sprinkle carrot seeds on the surface of the soil and barely cover them. Maybe a 1/4 inch of soil on top. Keep the soil moist until they sprout, which takes 1 to 2 weeks. Thin the seedlings so they're 2 inches apart. Water regularly. About 60 to 80 days later, you can start pulling carrots. The longer you leave them in the ground, the bigger and sweeter they get. But don't leave them too long or they'll get woody. Crop number 7. Radishes. Remember I promised you a crop that produces food in 30 days? This is it. Radishes are the fastest vegetable you can grow. Plant the seeds. Water them. 25 to 30 days later, you're pulling radishes out of the ground and eating them. This speed is crucial during difficult times. If you need food fast, radishes deliver. They're also perfect for beginner gardeners or kids because you see results so quickly. Nothing builds confidence like harvesting your own food within a month. Radishes are crunchy, peppery, and full of vitamin C. You can eat them fresh, pickle them, or cook them. Yes, cooked radishes are actually delicious. They taste mild and slightly sweet. Nothing like the spicy raw version. Growing radishes couldn't be simpler. Make a shallow trench 1/2 inch deep. Sprinkle seeds along the trench. Cover lightly with soil. Water. They sprout in 3 to 5 days. Keep them watered. About a month later, pull them up when they're the size of a marble to a golf ball. The trick with radishes is not leaving them in the ground too long. If you wait too long, they get woody and bitter. Plant radishes every 2 weeks from spring through fall for continuous harvests. They don't mind cold weather, so you can grow them when other crops have finished. Crop number 8. Kale. Kale has become a trendy superfood, but it's been a survival crop for centuries. Here's what makes kale special. It's one of the most cold-hardy vegetables on Earth. Kale can survive temperatures down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower. In fact, frost makes kale taste sweeter. This means you can have fresh greens in November, December, even January in many places. When everything else in the garden has died, kale is still standing there, ready to pick. Kale is also incredibly nutritious. It has more vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, plus iron, vitamin K, antioxidants, and fiber. If you could only eat one green vegetable, kale would keep you healthier than almost anything else. One kale plant keeps producing for months. You don't harvest the whole plant at once. You just pick the outer leaves as you need them, and the plant keeps growing new leaves from the center. Growing kale is easy. Start seeds indoors 6 weeks before the last frost, or direct seed them in the garden 1/2 inch deep. Space plants 12 inches apart. Water regularly. About 50 to 70 days after planting, you can start harvesting leaves. The plant will keep producing until hard freezes kill it, and even then, it takes a lot to kill kale. You can eat kale fresh in salads, cook it in soups and stir-fries, bake it into chips, or blend it into smoothies. Crop number 9. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are like regular potatoes, but better in almost every way for survival situations. First, they're more nutritious. Sweet potatoes have huge amounts of vitamin A, plus vitamin C, fiber, and complex carbohydrates. They're one of the most complete foods you can grow. Second, they produce more food per square foot than regular potatoes. One sweet potato plant can give you 5 to 10 pounds of sweet potatoes. Third, they store incredibly well. Cure them properly after harvest, and sweet potatoes can last 6 to 12 months in a cool, dry place. The only downside is that sweet potatoes need a long, warm growing season, about 100 to 120 days. They're a warm weather crop, so they won't work in cold climates with short summers. Growing sweet potatoes is different from regular potatoes. You start with slips. Those are small plants that sprout from a sweet potato. You can buy slips or make your own by putting a sweet potato in water until it sprouts. Plant the slips in loose, well-drained soil after all danger of frost has passed. Space them 12 inches apart. Water them regularly at first, then less often once they're established. Sweet potato vines spread out and cover the ground, which actually helps prevent weeds. About 4 months after planting, dig carefully around the base of the plants and harvest your sweet potatoes. Cure them in a warm place for 10 days, then store them in a cool spot. Crop number 10, garlic. Garlic is medicine disguised as food, and during difficult times, medicine becomes more valuable than gold. Garlic has been used for thousands of years to fight infections, boost the immune system, and keep people healthy. Modern science has confirmed what our ancestors knew. Garlic really does have powerful antibacterial and antiviral properties. During World War I, when antibiotics weren't available, medics used crushed garlic on wounds to prevent infection. It worked. But garlic is also just delicious. Like onions, garlic makes basic survival foods taste better, which helps you keep eating healthy foods even when times are hard. Growing garlic is incredibly easy, but it requires patience. You plant garlic in the fall, usually October or November. Then you wait all winter. The garlic grows slowly under the soil. In late spring, green shoots appear. By midsummer, you harvest. Here's how to do it. Buy garlic bulbs, not from the grocery store, but from a garden center or seed company. Break the bulbs into individual cloves. Plant each clove 4 inches deep and 6 inches apart, pointy end up. Cover with soil. Mulch heavily. Wait. About 8 to 9 months later, when the bottom leaves start turning brown, dig up your garlic. Each clove you planted will have become a whole new bulb. Cure the bulbs in a dry, shady place for 2 weeks. Then store them in a cool, dry spot. Garlic can last 8 to 10 months if stored properly. Crop number 11, tomatoes. I know what you're thinking. Tomatoes? Really? Those aren't survival crops. But hear me out. First, tomatoes are incredibly productive. One healthy tomato plant can produce 20 to 30 pounds of tomatoes over a season. Plant 6 to 8 plants and you could harvest 150 to 200 pounds of tomatoes. Second, tomatoes are packed with vitamins, especially vitamin C and lycopene, which keeps your heart and immune system healthy. Third, tomatoes preserve beautifully. You can make tomato sauce, salsa, or canned tomatoes that last for years on a shelf. During the Great Depression, home-canned tomatoes were a staple food that carried families through winter. The challenge with tomatoes is that they're not as tough as the other crops on this list. They need warm weather, regular water, and some attention. But if you can give them that, they reward you with abundant food. Start tomato seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, or buy young plants from a nursery. Plant them deep, bury part of the stem, and it'll grow more roots, making a stronger plant. Give each plant 2 to 3 feet of space. Stake or cage them so they don't fall over. Water them regularly, about 1 inch per week. About 70 to 80 days after planting, you'll start harvesting tomatoes. The plants keep producing until frost kills them. Even if you're growing tomatoes just to can them for storage, they're worth the effort. A pantry full of home-canned tomatoes is security you can see and taste. Crop number 12, asparagus. This is the crop I told you about that can survive in your garden for 20 years with almost no help from you. Asparagus is a perennial vegetable. That means you plant it once, and it comes back every single spring for decades. I'm not exaggerating. A well-maintained asparagus bed can produce food for 20 to 30 years. Think about that. You plant asparagus this year. For the next 20 years, every spring, you walk into your garden and harvest fresh spears without planting anything. Asparagus is also one of the first vegetables ready in spring, sometimes as early as March or April, which means fresh food when winter stores are running low. It's packed with vitamins K, C, and folate, plus fiber and antioxidants. The catch is that asparagus requires patience. You plant crowns, those are the roots, in early spring. For the first 2 years, you can't harvest anything. The plant needs time to establish strong roots. But starting in year 3, you can harvest for 6 to 8 weeks every spring. And the harvests get bigger every year as the plant matures. To plant asparagus, dig a trench 6 inches deep. Place the crowns in the trench, spacing them 12 to 18 inches apart. Cover with soil. Water well. Mulch heavily. That's it. After that, asparagus takes care of itself. Just keep weeds down and let the ferns grow tall in summer. Those ferns feed the roots for next year's harvest. Crop number 13. Peas. Peas are small but mighty. They're one of the earliest crops you can plant in spring. They actually prefer cool weather and can tolerate light frosts. This means you can plant peas in March or April, long before it's warm enough for tomatoes or beans. And you'll be harvesting fresh food in May or June when the garden is just getting started. Peas are also packed with protein, fiber, and vitamins. Like beans, they add nitrogen to the soil, improving your garden for future crops. There are 3 types of peas. Shelling peas, you eat just the peas inside. Snow peas, you eat the whole flat pod. And snap peas, you eat the whole plump pod. All 3 grow the same way. Plant pea seeds directly in the garden about 1 inch deep and 2 inches apart as soon as the soil can be worked in spring. They don't mind cold soil. If you're growing climbing varieties, give them something to climb, a trellis, fence, or stakes with string. Bush varieties don't need support. Water regularly. About 60 days after planting, you'll start picking peas. Here's the key. Harvest peas frequently. The more you pick, the more the plants produce. If you let the pods get too mature, the plant stops making new ones. You can eat peas fresh, freeze them, or let some mature fully and dry them for storage as split peas. Split peas store for years and make excellent soup. Crop number 14, beets. Beets give you 2 crops from one plant, the roots and the greens. The roots are sweet, earthy, and packed with nutrients. They have folate, manganese, and fiber. They're also incredibly versatile. You can roast them, pickle them, boil them, or eat them raw. The greens, the leafy tops, are some of the most nutritious leaves you can eat. They have more vitamins and minerals than the roots. You can cook them like spinach or eat them fresh in salads. Beets are also tough. They grow in cool weather, tolerate poor soil, and don't need much attention. 1 packet of beet seeds can produce 50 to 100 pounds of food. Roots and greens combined. That's a lot of nutrition from a $2 investment. Growing beets is simple. Plant seeds directly in the garden 1/2 inch deep and 2 inches apart in early spring or late summer for a fall crop. Keep the soil moist until they sprout, which takes 7 to 14 days. Thin the seedlings to 3 inches apart. About 50 to 70 days after planting, your beets will be ready. You can harvest them when they're the size of a golf ball or wait until they're bigger, up to the size of a tennis ball. After harvest, beets store in a cool place for 2 to 3 months. You can also pickle them or can them for longer storage. Crop number 15, corn. Corn is the ultimate survival crop. For thousands of years, corn has been the foundation of entire civilizations. The Aztecs, Mayans, and Native American tribes built their cultures around corn because it's so productive and versatile. 1 corn plant produces 1 to 2 ears, but corn plants grow close together. You can fit 16 plants in just 4 square feet. That's 32 ears of corn from a tiny space. Corn can be eaten fresh when it's young and sweet, but the real survival power of corn comes when you let it mature and dry. Dried corn lasts for years. You can grind it into cornmeal for bread, porridge, or tortillas. You can pop it, you can soak it, and cook it. Corn is also calorie dense, giving you the energy you need during physically demanding times. The challenge with corn is that it needs warm weather and a decent amount of space. But if you have the room and the climate, corn is absolutely worth growing. Plant corn seeds 1 inch deep after all danger of frost has passed. Plant them in blocks, at least 4 rows with plants 12 inches apart, because corn is wind-pollinated and needs neighbors to make ears. Water regularly, especially when the plants are tasseling and making ears. About 70 to 100 days after planting, depending on the variety, your corn will be ready. For sweet corn, harvest when the kernels are plump and milky. For dried corn, leave the ears on the plant until the husks turn brown and papery, then pick them and hang them to finish drying. So there you have it. 15 crops that can stand between your family and hunger during difficult times. Potatoes, beans, winter squash, cabbage, onions, carrots, radishes, kale, sweet potatoes, garlic, tomatoes, asparagus, peas, beets, corn. These aren't just plants. They're food security. They're independence. They're the knowledge our great-grandparents had, and we're just now remembering. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to plant all 15 of these crops. Maybe you start with just 3 or 4. Maybe you plant potatoes, beans, and kale this year. That's fine. That's still 3 crops that could keep your family fed if grocery stores get more expensive or harder to access. The point isn't perfection. The point is taking back some control over your food. And here's the beautiful truth about growing food. Every seed you plant, every harvest you bring in makes you a little bit more confident, a little bit more capable, a little bit more secure. These 15 crops have fed billions of people through thousands of years of human history. Through famines and wars and economic collapse, through droughts and floods and cold winters. They've worked for everyone who planted them. They'll work for you too. So this week, I want you to pick just one crop from this list. Just one. Buy the seeds or plants. Prepare a small space in your garden or even in a container. Plant it, water it, watch it grow, and when you harvest that first meal from your own garden, even if it's just a handful of radishes or a few potatoes, you'll feel something shift inside you. You'll realize that you're capable of feeding yourself, that you're not completely dependent on systems you can't control. That's a powerful feeling, and it's a feeling everyone deserves to experience. If this video helped you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find this information. And drop a comment below telling me which crop you're going to plant first. I read every single comment and I love hearing from you. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications. We share practical growing advice every week here at Easy Grow Garden, and we'd love to have you as part of our community. Thank you so much for watching. Now get out there and plant something. Your future self will thank you.